Have you ever looked at your life and thought, where am I? Or looked at yourself and thought, who is that? Hello and welcome back to the Unrehearsed Podcast. It is your host, Giselle, back for another week of introspective topics. I had a really interesting weekend. I went to a women's event I was invited by Isabel. We had her a couple weeks ago, and it was a women's event called, the host was Peninsula Women's Reset. And she had a couple of guest speakers. It was just a really networking, kind of inspiring night. I took my mom. It was the cutest thing to see her. I also kind of this all ties in together, I promise. But it was so interesting to see my mom interact with other women. I think that she has had way more experience in that than I have been when you're just kind of go to a place and can chat and meet new people and especially women because she does go to a lot of community events and things like that for women. Um, I haven't ever seen her in that element, though. I feel like I hear about it a lot, but I don't ever get to witness it. And just being able to be there and seeing her interact and kind of glow and just have fun with people was so nice. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. The event was between 5 and 8. They had little bites of food. It was hosted at the Forum Social Club, which was a place that I didn't know existed, kind of just like a rentable space. So cool. And the hosts are lovely. So definitely check them out on Instagram. But the event was really cool. There was I want to say three speakers that talked about their stories, and we had a violinist who came and told us her story and came and played. That was so fun and really a unique event, I want to say. I was really inspired by the stories that I heard. They were all far from a straight line, far from a perfect life and a perfect end. So that's why I got a chance to kind of connect with the host at one point when we were talking about how life is so and it kind of mixes into the topic that I had last week about how reality of things is usually not a straightforward, clear, and easy reality. And sometimes when you go to events like this, where you're networking, where you're connecting with people, you get this vibe, this like energy where it's just like, I just did it. I just did it. I came, I saw, I conquered, I did everything, and then it was perfect and easy. And here's this thing that I can do for you. And I loved that her idea was pretty aligned with my idea, which is if we show the reality of things, if we show that things are really not that easy, that there are bumps in the road, that things are difficult, you don't feel so crazy. Like you really don't feel so alone. Um, and I loved that I got a chance to connect with her on that because it's something that I really truly believe in is that let's just show the reality of things. Let's explain. Let's show and tell the stories of all of the crazy things that happen to get you to this place. Um, and that is pretty much the night that we had was these stories of just incredible just twists and turns and it's just and here you are gold star, my friends, because what? And that's what I absolutely love, and that's what makes it inspiring, I feel like. And in the end of the day at the end of the day, if that story was just so easy, it wouldn't be inspiring, and it wouldn't get people to want to do it, and it wouldn't make people feel comfortable, in their life to be like, "Oh, well, it's not lining up perfectly, so I can just quit." It's like these people also went through hell and back to try to get to where they wanted to go. So interestingly enough, this event happened, I want to say the day after I had an absolute meltdown. And it wasn't like a bad meltdown. I don't like I was really emotional, I will say. Me emotional, never. I would never be emotional. But I was really emotional, just kind of looking at things, looking at my life. I don't know, just it just hit me like a wall. And I had this realization that like I'm like, I couldn't recognize my life. It was so weird. I feel like and I kept telling Matt, I was like, I feel like I woke up in someone else's life. Like I feel like I look at myself and I'm like, who are you? Like where did this come from? And kind of looking back at this past year, I did have a lot of things change in my life. I had a lot of ups and a lot of downs, a lot of things that I didn't expect, um, a lot of gains, a lot of losses. It was a really like tumultuous year where it was just kind of like I was completely lost, and it, like, really broke me down all the way to, like, the studs, and at that point, I wanna say just, like, if I look back and I think about what that year at the beginning looked like, I can't tell you that I ever thought I would get out of that. I like and I kept saying, like, "One of these days, I'm gonna find myself again." Like, one of these days, this isn't forever, and I remember I just kept thinking, like, "This isn't forever. This isn't forever. I'll make my way out of this somehow." I have done it before, right? Like, I've gotten myself out of deeper holes. I can do this. But, like, I just never like, in my mind was always just like, it's just something that you say to yourself to just keep going. Um That's kind of where I was at the beginning, I wanna say, of, like, the real crazy transitions, and I wanna say that, like, now, I like even then, when I was thinking, "I'm gonna get myself out of this, it's gonna be fine, I'll make it back, I'll make it back." I never in my life thought I would be here. It's just, like, I could not I get twisted just thinking about it because I'm just like, there is no universe in my brain that I would have been like, here she is, the girl who like is doing XYZ, right? And I'm just like, it just and it's not in a bad way. Like I was like full blown tears, like full on meltdown. Like, and I could just kept telling Matt, like, it's not like, I don't recognize my life in a bad way. It's just I don't recognize my life because I never thought that I would have this life. Like, I never thought that I would get to this point where I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Um, and I think that, like, my biggest shift in that was I I'm such a people pleaser. It has always been in my life, in myself, in my priorities were always everybody else. Like everybody else first. Everybody else, is everyone okay? Taking care and doing like the absolute most for other people in my life and just giving it my all. I'm a Taurus. I am loyal to an absolute fault. I will drag myself over burning coals to help someone that I like need or that I want or like something that they need, sorry. Something that they need um for someone that like I love. It's just there's just no, there's nothing that could stop me, and it didn't to my detriment, like, it didn't matter if I was doing something, if I was handling something, if I had 50,000 things going on, I was going to stop my life, my entire life to make sure that I got this taken care of first, and I could be, like, hanging on by a thread, like, I will use that thread to sew together whatever problem it is that you have. Um, and I stopped doing that, and I took a huge step back. And it got to a point where I think I just said, enough. Like, enough. I've given so much of myself. I've given literally every ounce of energy and literally anything that I had. And for at that point, my life to have turned out like this, I was like, there's just no freaking way. Like, I'm done. Like, I am not doing this anymore. And at that point, I started making decisions for me. What do I want? Like, what am I feeling in this moment? And I'm just gonna like honor whatever that feeling is, and I'm gonna just do whatever I need to do to help myself in this moment. And I feel like that was the moment that I really just, and it may have been that I made those decisions out of pure just spite, I don't know, just grit at that point where I'm just like, "This is how I'm gonna make it through." Like, I don't know what it was in that time that I just like something got deep inside of me that I was like, "I'm going to drag myself out of this." And to hell with anybody and everything. Like, at that point, I didn't care. And maybe that's not the greatest, right? Because I didn't care at that point if, like, I was like, I'm done. Like, there is nothing left to give. I will literally give nothing more. And I took it to the extreme at some points. And I feel like because of that, it did, like, it was the catalyst that I needed in order to really at that point, make that decision and then take that decision and be like, that felt good to you. Like, that felt good in your heart. So, like, maybe let's not, like, maybe let's tone it down a little bit, but let's find a way to make that balanced where my my feelings come first, my needs come first, and then still be able to balance a little bit of like, yes, other people's needs, if you have the capacity to do so, like, can find a place. Um, but I feel like I have never taken and like literally probably ever my entire life have I ever taken this amount of like charge over me. And that sounds so stupid. I mean, like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, I feel like my personal life, my self, my goals, my whatever, were on autopilot. Like, if I had time, if I could, I would take care of it. Otherwise, like, everything else came first. And I just like I don't know. Like, it's been such a crazy ride to, like, get to that point and be like, "Holy crap." Like, I need to do something different, and then do something different and end up here. I feel like I can actually look at this life and say, "I built this I built this brick by painstaking brick because I was literally down to the studs. Like, I was literally foundation only." And I took that and I was so intentional and I literally only brought in what I needed and wanted and my goals and my aspirations. And holy crap, am I proud of myself. I just I I didn't expect this episode to be like a like ego tooting like horn of an episode, but god damn it, did I freaking do that. And it came with the confidence. I feel like and again, like this none of this was overnight. Of like this has been years in the making. This has been years of me cultivating little skills. Um Never using those skills. never using those skills, but having them in the back of my mind of like, okay, you know, confidence, self-esteem, self-love, or goals, like all these little things that you've accumulated, right? But being able to take that, store it away until I was confident and like strong enough to say like, okay, now I can put it into practice. Now we can do it. Um, I got there. I did get there eventually. But like now I look back and I'm just like, whew, like boy. And I think that it was one of a I had a conversation with my dad. My dad called my dad's always involved in this. I would like I talk to him. I talk about him so much. I feel like I should have him on an episode at some point. Um, but I was talking to my dad, and my dad said to me, "Oh, it's because we're going to New Orleans. I'm going to New Orleans. Sorry. I'm going to New Orleans. We're going to Japan and, like all these things and, next year and this year and da 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 last year and all these things that I'm doing. I'm traveling, I'm, creating, I'm building, I'm, doing all these things." And my dad says to me, like, oh, like, he made a joke. He was like, "Your son's gonna miss you because you're so away." My dog, I have a dog. So he's like, your son's gonna miss you, from how much you're going away and doing stuff. And I just kind of like, said my smart ass remark like I normally do. But at the end of the phone call, I took that and I was like, hell yeah, I'm traveling a lot. Like, hell yeah, I'm doing that. Like, hell yeah, I'm out there living my life and taking charge and really just like intentionally just wringing out every possible thing I can from my life. Um, and the old me would never, like, the old me could not even fathom this version of myself. And I just like I love I love that for me. I This feels stupid. I mean, I feel a little silly. I've got to just like, putting all of this into words, um, and just not crying about it, but just putting this into words because I feel like it does it just I just could never. I feel like I'm so far from where I started, and I'm so far from what my I ever imagined my life to be. And I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started, and that is the part that just like it fills me with just glee at this point. I'm just like, yeah, I don't even know where I'm gonna go, but I know it's gonna be freaking amazing at this point because like look at how far we've come. Um, and that actually brings me to that actually brings me to Ellie. Ellie. And so I'm not sure if my podcast people have seen the name Ellie, but I use Ellie a lot in a lot of different things. Ellie Odyssey, I want to say, is kind of like my alter ego. I feel like Ellie is everything that I've always wanted to be. And I'm very much becoming that just in my normal life. But someone asked me like, where did that name even come from? So Ellie was a nickname of a nickname. When I was little, I had a lot of friends who used to call me Gisselle. Which was funny because it's like usually nicknames are to make your name shorter, but this one made my name longer. And so I want to say Tara was the first person to call me Ellie. I've known Tara for a good jillion years. And I wanna say she was the first person to call me Gisselle. When I hit middle school, Gisselle started to chase me around. And then high school, it just kind of, and at some point it did kinda die off. I got older, I moved away, I didn't have everyone just called me Giselle for a really long time, or G. I used to get G a lot. Um, and at some point I don't even know where it came from. I feel like there was another really crazy lull in my another crazy, like, drop down lull in my life where, things just didn't line up. Things just were really heavy and things were really crazy. And Ellie kind of reappeared as Ellie. The parts that I added was Odyssey. And Odyssey is that's I want to say that's the part that has a lot of meaning. That's the part that brings a lot of like heaviness to it. And just weight in my heart is and not bad weight. I'm just saying like it means a lot to me is just adding Odyssey to it because Odyssey the description is basically a long winding journey. So not a journey that is like kind of easy and straightforward. It is a journey that kind of has its twists, its turns, it's unexpected, just winding, it takes a lot for you to get to the end kind of a thing. And so coupled with Ellie from my childhood, I thought Odyssey was my future. And it very much was because we have had a very long and winding journey. um, but through all of that, I ended here. I ended, and I'm not that we're ended. Let's be let's be so clear. But it brought me here to this place. And I have lived a freaking odyssey to get here. So I don't know. It was a really great event. And it was just like a kind of cosmic where all of these things kind of lined up one after the other and just created a perfect story for me to this past week. I feel like it just everything lined up and it clicked and something in my brain was like, good job. Good job. Here we are. Do the gratitude now. Now you're in the perfect mind state to take this and do something with it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still really I don't know. I'm still my heart is full. My heart is full, my life is full, and I am living a very intentional life. The things that I have that are going on that I'm building right now, the new things that I'm building personally, just in my own thing, not related to the podcast, just fill me with so much excitement and fill me with so much like just I'm inspired. I'm inspired by how far I've come and how much I'm building and how excited I am for the future. I have laid the bricks, I've made the choices. I have, had to fix some choices and, all of that. But I want to say that a perfect life does not exist. A perfect journey is probably very, like, the chances of that are so, so small. Um, So I hope that someone out there is inspired by this episode because I want to say that this has been the true essence of like how far I've come. I was not a confident person. I want to say a year or two or three or 10 years ago. I was a very unsure, a very insecure person. And I always needed validation from others in order to continue and approval from others in order to feel like yeah I can continue now. I've gotten the golden seal of approval. Now I can move forward. And I just if anything you take from this episode, I just want you to know not to wait. Not to wait. And it's the hardest thing that you're ever going to do probably. But make the choices and do it. Just grab it and by the horns and just do it because god damn it, I am happy. And I hope that whatever journey it takes for you to get there, I hope that you eventually get to a point where you don't recognize your life either and you are in a beautiful place like I am. I hope that this was fun. I know that this was fun for me. So I will catch you guys in the next one. See you later. Mwah. I love you all. Bye.